So I went back to Dying Light 1 and I replayed through the entire game on its nightmare difficulty like I promised in my last video. So for this gameplay, I was playing on my main account, which has max legend level 250, max all the levels except for driving, just to kind of make it a little bit easier on myself. I did play on New Game Plus. The point of this was to go after the Trick or Treat outfit. I got it on console. a little while ago. This was only my second time ever fully playing through the game on its nightmare difficulty. And yeah, the game's definitely very challenging on its nightmare difficulty. I really like that. It's not really challenging in its typical, in like the typical sense where it's like, actually made a little bit harder in nightmare mode. I guess this is the typical fashion then, because the enemies are kind of just spongy. They're really, really tanky. They've got massive health pools. I didn't really appreciate it. Like I said, towards the end of the game, I was pretty tired. I was getting a little bit annoyed at the game. When I would shoot an enemy in the face and it takes like 13 bullets instead of, one. But that's okay. That's okay, honestly. It definitely didn't ruin the experience for me. I really enjoyed playing through this game on its nightmare difficulty. So yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the first act here, just because I played this game so many times. If you really want to go in depth about the game, I would probably recommend checking out another video. This really isn't that kind of a video. I'm really just talking about my experience playing through the nightmare mode, which I've said it over and over and over again. It's challenging. It's a lot of fun to do. I'm sure if you hopped in here with some of your buddies and you just took it start to finish, you'd probably have a lot of fun. Some of the story points are kind of a slog to get through, which, that kind of comes with a lot of games that are trying to focus on the story, kind of, which this game really doesn't. But when you're focusing on it like I did, where you just beeline the story, you definitely kind of notice there's definitely some things where it's like, I don't know about that, this kind of sucks, let's move on to the next thing, please. Not what you're seeing on screen, though. This explosion, this mission, honestly, as a whole, where Raheem goes and tries to blow up the nest, and then, that kind of just goes wrong. That was a great mission. I loved it. The next point I wanted to talk about was the pit. So Rise's pit, where you fight the zombies after he, kidnaps Dr. Zara and yourself. He drops you here in his pit to fight these zombies. This is one of my favorite sections in the whole game. It's really just so good. Some of the best, well, not some of the best, but one of the best cutscenes in the entire game takes place after this, which you'll probably see in the gameplay footage coming up here. This sequence is a whole lot of fun. It's definitely a lot more challenging on the nightmare mode, not from these normal zombies, as you can see, but actually from the Demolisher. The Demolisher is so hard on nightmare mode, and I say that with like 3 H's and like 12 D's in the word hard, because dude, oh my gosh, he kicked me around like I was a soccer ball. I really just couldn't get him. I couldn't figure out what to do. There was a point where I hit him with the explosive barrel, and it kind of hurt him, so I tried doing it again, and then he killed me. Man, he was going nuts during this whole fight. He was going nuts. I knew it was going to be a speed bump from the first time that I played this game through nightmare mode on console. I knew it was going to be a speed bump, and that it was going to kind of suck for a minute, getting my chest kicked in by the Demolisher. But it was still very fun, especially once I actually did damage him and get it. It was mostly the armor. Once you get his armor off, he really just is kind of a pushover, which I pushed him over, obviously. But yeah, this is a great sequence all in all. I really, really like the pit. Very cool. So getting into the second half of the game, where you go to Old Town, first of all, this is probably my favorite location in the game, and you'll probably hear that from a lot of people that played the first game, just because, this area is set up so well for parkour. You can see the zip lines and all of the tall buildings and stuff that you can really just kind of climb on all of it, and it's really fun to create your own path while running through the city, making, your own twisted way, going from rooftop to the street level for a minute, then back on up, shooting through all the alleyways and stuff like that. I really do like the design of the Tower of the Embers as well. It looks really cool. I think this whole area just looks really cool. It's very pretty, especially in the daylight. Yeah, man, this area is great. One thing I really can't understate enough, though, is kind of how underpowered the weapons feel, because I was using modded weapons at the beginning of some of the footage, but I was trying not to once I really got into the game. and a lot of the like gold and legendary weapons just were really not cutting it, you know. I don't want to say I had to play with the modded weapons, but I definitely wanted to, you know. I mean, it was just tough, which is kind of what I asked for when I played Nightmare Mode, which is, you know, why I didn't really want to use a whole lot of the modded weapons, but I did use them here and there just to kind of make some things go by quicker, because, I mean, it was, it was rough. You can see in the gameplay footage, I mean, I'm fighting for my life here, you know. It was tough. Definitely a new experience for me when it comes to Dying Light, because if you remember, if you, like I said, watched my previous video, which if you haven't, definitely check it out. I was talking about how the games don't really feel challenging, especially towards the end game. This game definitely is challenging in Nightmare Mode, but it's not really for the reasons that I like. I kind of mentioned how the enemies are just like bullet sponges, and they're really tanky and kind of just don't care when you throw damage at them. Not really a big fan of that. You know, I miss in like, you know, in like Halo Combat Evolved, if you were playing on Legendary difficulty, there was a mission that would spawn in gold elites in this room, but if you drop the legendary to heroic difficulty, then it would give you 2 of the Spectre elites where they're like invisible or whatever. I miss things like that, little changes like that, where they like add in enemies or maybe add in new like character routes or something like that, like AI paths and stuff like that. I really miss when games would do that instead of just making their enemies really tough, like unbearably tough. It doesn't really equal fun factor in my opinion, but it was still a great time. You know, it definitely didn't damper the mood or anything, just something that I kind of wanted to throw out there. Overall, I think that I would say if you're looking for a really hardcore and realistic kind of zombie survival parkour game, that, I mean, Nightmare Mode is probably the definitive way to achieve that goal. I mean, it's very hard. It's really challenging. It definitely, you know, it forces you to utilize pretty much every mechanic that the game has to offer, which is something that I appreciate, and something that I know a lot of people that really like challenging games and just challenge in general would also appreciate. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. All in all, I will say that this is definitely one of the most fun games I've ever played. It's definitely up there on my like list of games that I love. It's probably in my top 10, I would say. I'm not really sure of my top 10, but I would say that this is probably in it. This game is very good, and playing through it on Nightmare Mode again for this video and for the outfit, it doesn't really, like, I don't know, you know, I said there was a lot of, not a lot of, but there's a few parts where it's like kind of sluggish, and you know, you don't really want to be there, you kind of want to just be on the next thing already, and it kind of just takes a little too long on certain points in time. But I mean, even with all of that, and even with all of this game's downfalls for the very few that it does have, it really is still just amazing in my eyes. Playing through it on Nightmare Mode with all of its, you know, challenge and whatnot didn't taint my eyes on that in any way, shape, or form. This game is amazing. If I didn't sell it enough in the last video that I made on these games, I mean, I really just don't really, you know what else to tell you. This game is great. If you haven't played it yet, definitely check it out next time it goes on sale. I mean, I think the Ultimate Edition for the game goes in Ultimate Edition. The version that comes with, you know, the following and all the DLC, I mean, I think that went on sale for like 10 or 20 bucks the last time the game was on sale on Steam. So, I mean, you can pick it up for pretty cheap when it goes on sale, and I would say it's definitely worth every bit of money you spend on it, especially if you do get it on sale. It's worth it on its own, but if you get it on sale, I mean, you really just, you're missing out if you don't, kind of thing, you know. But yeah, this game is great. I definitely had a lot of fun playing through it again to get this outfit. It was very worth it, very worthwhile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for sticking around and watching the whole thing. I know it's kind of a little bit shorter than the last one I made, and I'm sorry about that. I didn't really know how I wanted to structure it. I'm still kind of getting used to this whole making videos thing. I feel a little bit more comfortable talking, so I think that's a great thing. I know you probably don't really care about that, but, you know, throwing that out there. Thanks again to anybody who stuck around for the whole thing, or even if you clicked on it and clicked off, you know, whatever. Thanks for clicking on it in the first place. I appreciate it. Please feel free to, you know, leave a like, comment about anything you want to see me talk about, or even something in this video you thought was interesting, or maybe something you didn't think was interesting and you want to call me a stupid fat idiot for saying it. Go for it, please. Any interaction is good interaction. Not actually, but you know, comment. tell me something. Tell me what you want to see. Things like that. I'd love to hear from you. I also want to go ahead and say a massive thank you to everybody who clicked on the last video that I posted. When I went into making this video last night, it was sitting at like 189 views. The video is already today at 300 some views, and it is the most liked video on my channel. So I think that I'm heading in the right direction. At least the interaction says so. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and anybody coming back to this video from that video, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into another video here. I told you it was coming, and here it is. I plan to keep on releasing some videos. I don't know where I'm going next. I might do Dying Light the following and keep going with this Dying Light train, or maybe switch up to a different game. Like I said, I want to play The Forest, and I got a comment asking for some Ready or Not content, so I have the game. I'm definitely getting ready for that, because that sounds like fun to me. So if you guys are looking for stuff like that and you're enjoying the content so far, or maybe you just want to see how it goes, stick around. Feel free to subscribe, like, and comment. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you in the next one.